Yo, what up? This is D Knight, and you're listening to the Pardon the Interaction podcast. My oh my, we've had so much going on. For starters, in case you missed it, we've got a new addition to the Pardon Pie family, Tara Dublin. Make sure you go follow her on Twitter at Tara Dublin Rocks. Also, pick up a copy of her book while you're at it. Make her day, The Sound of Settling. A very fun and interesting read compared to the things we talk about on this podcast. But yeah, we're heading toward the do or die time for the 2024 election. Go ahead and hit up JoeBiden.com. Get that man like $1 a month or something. Help his campaign staff up and get prepared to try and save our democracy. And make sure to grab like one other person you know and tell them about the podcast. Make sure they subscribe and tune in every single week. We got a lot of things coming up for you this year. We need all the support that we can get. So if you do your part and help us grow our audience, we'll do our part and help elect Joe Biden in 2024 and save American democracy. And this is the Pardon the Interaction podcast.
Feel like some pina coladas and watching Trump get arraigned. FBI raided Mar-a-Lago. Trump's lawyers have half a brain. Fox News will lose $1 billion. Cause Tucker Carlson's insane. Proud Boys are standing by for prison. Indictments pouring like rain.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, where were we going? I don't even know what we were talking about.
We were wildly speculating about possible charges leveled against Mark Meadows and how it was indicative. We were going back to trying to gauge the progress of the J6 case based on who they're having testify. So,
I mean, obviously, obstruction of an official proceeding is on the table. That's the most likely charge. Connecting him to the seditious conspiracy plots of the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, while not impossible, is highly unlikely. I mean, yes, the Department of Justice has established that the conspiracy exists, has proved that multiple people were involved, but they would have to directly connect Mark Meadows to such a conspiracy. But I mean, that's, again, we've heard Cassidy Hutchinson testify that Mark Meadows was aware of the Oath Keepers. The name of the group came up, so I wouldn't rule it out. Again, also Roger Stone closely associated with insurrectionists, so it's entirely possible that there might be some damning evidence in his possession or in possession of the...
Yeah, I don't think any of this is out of the realm of possibility or even that unlikely.
Well,
the thing that seems like that's unlikely is that they will have time to get through all of that evidence and make all of those connections before any sort of political interference. So just in case like anything changes in 2024, by way of example, I think that evidence probably does exist. There's so much, like, the stuff we see has been so damning, and there is, like, that's the tip of the iceberg. They're getting more and more, and now they're up at the top. They're going to get this shit's going to roll in. There's so much we haven't seen, and like, or they are seeing it. Or
in the case of Trump and Stormy Daniels, it's the tip of the mushroom.
Yeah, but there's not much more after that.
Oh, I see what you were saying.
It's not an apt analogy.
Oh, I did it wrong. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I made a dick joke. You missed it. See, my joke was that his penis is small.
No, I got that.
With an iceberg, it's very big under there,
Yeah, there's a lot hiding underneath the surface.
And it breaks off, in this analogy, it had broken previously off of a bigger dick called a dick glacier.
Okay, now you're being extraordinarily subtle, Carol.
Just in case anyone didn't get my joke, I wanted to clarify it 6 or 7 more times.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure that's exactly what they mean.
And when I say times, I don't mean instances. I mean like magnification.
Okay, got you.
Okay, proceed. You want to talk about Fox News and shit?
No, before we get there, let's talk about some of the grander implications of this historical event of having Trump perp walked and arraigned.
Yes, he's the first president, former, current, or otherwise. Definitely former, though, for you fucking crazy people who are listening.
Yeah, but he's not the first former political leader to have been indicted or
No, president.
yeah, but
He's first.
other countries have had some similar issues where their head of state was on a crime spree and they face some potential criminal consequences. I would I guess Israel comes to mind. BB here
Isn't he prime minister again?
he's back in power. They couldn't help themselves. They got rid of him and then they brought him right back. They're basically on the same shit Great Britain is dealing with. Like you got rid of your Trump, you kind of like rotated the cast around and then you brought him back. It's quite insane.
Well, the insanity gives a pretty big implication that you think that they have an actual democracy there.
It's a little different. I mean, they have like the parliamentary style representation, so they have a little less control of who is necessarily the prime minister. It's not like a 4-year election like here in the United States, but still, like it's batshit and crazy that your leaders get in trouble, you get rid of them, and then you bring them back. Like I hope that's not,
or Brazil.
Oh yeah. I hope the United States isn't facing a similar situation here soon. Like, I hope in 2 years, like we have this figured out. Like, Trump's a fucking criminal. Let's not vote him back in. Like again. But no, I feel like this is a huge message to the world that the United States criminal justice system, as flawed as it is, it still works. Right. This idea that the United States is becoming a banana republic, a banana republic, because it's holding its former leaders accountable for their criminal activity. That's not what makes a banana republic up. What makes a banana republic is not holding, elected officials and heads of state and whatnot accountable when they commit crimes. That just emboldens them to go further down that path. I mean, that was Germany's problem, right?
One of them.
Well, that is one of the instances that led them down the path of Hitler's Reich. Staged his own coup.
I mean, I think that he was smarter and more calculated Hitler
Are you sure?
than Trump.
No,
I don't. I'm not sure, actually, because he didn't have social media. But I feel like it would have been easier to control the narrative because first of all, they obviously had like government propaganda only, but there was no social media. Like that was a huge. Now it seems like it's hurting us, but as much as we had disinformation hurting our democracy, we also had the channels available to discuss with each other and know that, like, what we were hearing from our government was bullshit.
Method of countering the propaganda.
Yeah, they did, but it was probably like risk getting killed delivering a message by hand.
Yeah, it was definitely on a smaller scale. I mean, Germany put great use to the tools available to them at the time when it came to spreading disinformation through radio and newspaper and written media outlets. Trump's version of that obviously was Twitter and Facebook. I mean, how we fallen. But yeah, just
the only difference is we also had that.
Well, the problem is
not the only difference, thankfully.
After Hitler's first attempted coup, they basically let him out of prison early. He didn't face nearly the severe amount of consequences that he deserved, and that just further emboldened the bad behavior. And then you see what happened there. America, I hope we've learned our fucking lesson. Like, let's not do that shit again. Like, that's what history's for. It's like, don't repeat the mistakes of the past when you have a pretty clear example of what not to do. Yeah. So sorry, that's a real downer. I know we're supposed to be celebrating. Pop the champagne, yo.
Pop the champs. I already got too bad of a hangover on Friday because I was drinking with you guys on Thursday night.
Yeah, we was lit.
On indictment day.
Indictment day. And
I had made a little shaker.
Day. Let's send Trump's ass to prison.
All right, are you gonna meld that together with the version I did? Maybe they'll be in the same key. I don't know.
No, I don't know. It's okay. We don't really have to worry about all of that. It's not that important.
Yeah, so it's great. I'm glad we know that the world knows that anyone can be held accountable, and I'm glad that the world of Republicans, many of whom are involved in this issue, know they are on fucking watch.
Oh man, MAGA tears.
I'm sorry.
MAGA tears everywhere. Yep.
Yeah, I'm getting the issues confused. They're obviously not all involved in the Stormy Daniels case, but
no,
the accountability, if it can come, when they keep saying if they can come for him, they'll come for you. He's talking to his friends, talking to the co-conspirators in the insurrection. In all these in the ongoing election interference efforts.
They are so heartbroken that the criminal justice system is no longer just for the blacks and the poors. Yeah, they're losing their shit. They're like, oh, what? Rich white people in positions of power can go to jail too? That's fucked up. That's what they're saying.
And they're like, oh, they just want to prosecute our political enemies. like the guy who tried to bring back the firing squad after he lost the election.
Yeah, the same person who was trying to lock up Hillary Clinton and Obama and Hunter Biden and President Biden and literally
and implement a fucking firing squad. You don't do that when you want to rule well. You do that when you want to shoot your dissidents.
Yeah, and he wanted to lock up the media for not giving up their sources and
But this is political.
Carol, I have a question for you. Are you wearing pants?
Yes, dear. Yes.
Oh, okay. It didn't. Oh.
Wearing stripy rainbow pajamas from primary.com.
Nice.
They match with my children.
They're not a sponsor, Carol. Sheets and Giggles promotion only on this podcast.
Oh, sorry. They're not a competitor, at least, but give me free shit. I spend so much money at your website.
All right, maybe we'll try and find their CEO on Twitter and get him to sponsor
a company that has so much rainbow stuff. Must be,
Yeah, look again.
They're at least not overt. They're not at least overtly afraid of rainbows like some of these alpha men who cry at Target. Sorry, I saw a stupid video today. Dude crying at Target about look at these boys' shirts. They have rainbows on them. What is this? Men, take your sons to.
I saw that too.
Take your sons back. A rainbow will make his penis fall off.
That was wild. Yeah.
So I can confirm that rainbows do not do that to children.
I too saw that. But yeah, man, this shit is just it's insane. I mean, look. All the people out there who've been shitting on me on the Twitter for the past, however many years about, Trump will never be held accountable. He's going to get away with it. He'll never be indicted. All that dumb shit. You fuckers owe me a fucking apology. Y'all were wrong. Yeah. No. And
I'll take that apology too. Not that I was getting as much shit.
Oh my God, these motherfuckers would just never shut the fuck up. Anytime I would mention anything, they'd be like, well, just call me when there's a fucking indictment, which will never happen. It was just endless.
Are you going to call them? Did you call them? Well, hey, Sally 12592, fuck you.
Carol, there were so many endless masses of these people that I just stopped talking about shit because I just didn't want to hear their fucking bullshit. But I bet they shut the fuck up.
Send out a
now.
robocall and get some FCC violation fines. Yeah.
Yeah, and if any
robocalls for D.
And if any conservatives are listening to this podcast and you're trying to downplay the gravity of these charges, he paid some money to keep a girl quiet. Whoop-de-doo. What's the big deal there? Well, I would just like to remind you that George Floyd was murdered by police in broad daylight in the middle of the street for an alleged fake $20 bill. So if he can lose his life over a potentially fake 20 that they don't even know if it was fake, I feel like Trump can serve some prison time for spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to try and by an election. So fuck you guys. Eat a dick. Yep. On to some.
Eat many dicks. Sorry, that was my contribution. I also share your sentiment, especially punctuated by the end.
Yeah, and if you enjoy eating dicks, well, fuck you. Eat a vagina, I guess. Sorry, Carol's mom.
And if you're bi, just go make out with a brick.
God damn it! Like I don't even know
what.
How do you punish bisexual people in a sexually gratuitous fashion? I don't even know what the course.
Go straddle a brick. Nobody would like that, D.
Go.
Those are rough.
Suck a eunuch, I guess. I don't know. They don't have anything to suck. I'm not entirely sure how this works. Anyway. Yeah. So is it
lickety brickety?
I guess
lickety brickety.
Yeah. I guess we could talk about some of the future political implications for the Republican Party now that Trump's been indicted and arraigned. For starters, that whole DeSantis is the front runner for competition for Trump in the 2024 Republican primary. Well, that got deflated in like a week. Like it took Trump getting indicted with 34 felonies and like losing a legal battle with Mickey Mouse in like his entire campaign up in smoke before he even got to announce. It was crazy. It was some crazy shit. Like looking at the Republican polling, like Trump's approval hasn't changed. So don't let Trump pretend like he's got like some massive soaring level of improvement now that he's been indicted. Cause that's not the case. But what did
you're saying all the percentage decrease came from Ron DeSantis and went to different candidates, not Donald Trump.
Yeah, it either went DeSantis's approval rating among Republicans completely tanked, and instead of that support going back to Donald Trump, it basically went to they're not sure who they support in 2024. So that was great. DeSantis repealed the Resign to Run Act the day that Trump got indicted. Didn't even get to announce his campaign, and his chances to win the nomination immediately tanked thereafter. So that's what you get, fuckface.
I wish he would have at least resigned first, because that would have been beautiful.
Well, that was the whole point, Carol. He was never intending to resign, because if
I know.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the plan. He tried to be slick.
My fantasy version where his rule or his law gets someone sues and it gets overturned, which isn't so far out of the realm of possibility, because that's something like I would sue over that if I lived in Florida. Like, no, you can't just like fascism me.
I think the Resign to Run.
I'm not going to represent myself in this, by the way.
Totally understandable. The Resign to Run law, I mean, it's not a terrible idea. Like, if you want your politicians committed to serving your constituents instead of like, I don't know, trying to weasel out of doing their job so they can run off and play president. I mean, I guess I understand. Like, we don't have that here, but I see there are
how do you fully do your job when you're doing a different job? It seems to me like a presidential campaign is a full-time job.
Yeah, keeps you pretty busy. You can't
do it half-assed.
Keeps you pretty busy for sure.
Yeah. So it's, even if it wasn't like an issue about retaining power when you retaining power when you shouldn't be, it's a disservice to your constituents.
I mean, here's the bigger question.
Who the fuck is going to be governing? Yeah.
Well, in Florida, no one. That's part of Florida's problem. It's not like DeSantis is down there actually doing a good job. All he does is pass these stupid fucking bills to troll the libs. No. So here's a question for you. What the fuck are Republicans actually planning in 2024, right? Because Trump's been indicted. Like, that's going to make him immensely unpopular with, independent voters, which they'll need to win. Like,
I think they're hoping he's in jail by then.
Okay, well, there you go.
They're all in public saying all this stuff about how this is a travesty, this is an abuse, this is really persecution, not prosecution. You don't think privately a lot of them are thrilled? The ones who will not be going to jail?
No, I'm absolutely sure that like Republicans who aren't his co-conspirators are thrilled that it's, it appears that like the veil has been lifted, like his armor has been pierced. But okay, so let's play out a couple of scenarios here. More game theory time.
Who do I get to be? Oh, you mean
Carol. Let's
I have to be Carol? What's her role in all this? Podcaster from the sidelines that none of them have heard of? Okay.
Okay,
I'll introduce myself to them. Like, hi, I'm Carol. I troll you on Twitter all the time because you suck. It's not very nice to meet you, but I'm sure it's very nice for you to meet me because I'm nice and I don't commit treason and such.
Hypothetically, let's fast forward to 2024. It's the height of the Republican. It's the height of the Republican primary. Trump's been indicted in Manhattan, in Georgia, and by the special counsel's office, but he won't be facing trial until well into 2024 or 2025, maybe the general election. Who knows? But because Republicans have spent all this time defending Trump, they've yet to build a potential challenger in the Republican primary. Trump's running away with the nomination. What the fuck are they thinking?
Yeah, I mean, they must be thinking that that he'll be in jail by then because they can't possibly win they are probably thinking they are totally fucked if he's not in jail.
Here's the thing.
What?
Unless Trump is indicted for aiding the insurrection, giving aid or comfort to insurrectionists, Trump, whether he's in jail or not, he won't be disqualified from running for president. He can literally run for the office of president from prison. Should he?
What, would they have to free him just because he was president?
Oh, you're assuming he would win. I'm not going that far,
no.
But I'm just saying it's general election time. Trump's won the nomination. The trial takes place.
No, once he's in jail, they would not let him run.
How would they stop him if he's won the nomination? Like, what would they do?
Because what is he going to do to them from prison? Do you think he really has so people say he's like a mob boss. And he is in a lot of ways, but how many viable connections do you think he still has to get someone killed?
But he's already on the ballot, is what I'm saying. So he's wrapped up the Republican nomination. It's general election time. Trial comes. He's convicted. He's in jail, but he's still on the ballot.
You're saying, okay. You're in your scenario. See, I didn't remember the scenario.
It's okay. It's fake. I totally understand. Women tune me out all the time. I'm totally used to this.
Okay.
And they say men have a problem listening. No, I'm kidding.
Jeez, I mean, I thought this was going to happen.
Giving you a hard time.
I thought this was going to happen when he should have died almost died 3 years ago. What was I saying? Of course I meant almost.
Yeah, we were so close to being rid of him.
But we also would have had no nominee. Well, I guess I don't know if Pence would have just been the de facto nominee, but
I don't know.
Right before he's a disaster after disaster, this guy.
I mean, you know what? To some degree, thank God he didn't die because he really tanked the midterm elections in 2022 for Republicans. But yeah, so back to...
I guess he would have died a martyr. Anyway.
Back to our hypothetical. Trump's in jail during the general election, but he's still on the ballot. Like, have Republicans not looked forward to this potential possibility? Like, why are they still backing Trump now? Okay, here's another problem. Right.
Do you think once he's on actually seriously on trial if he was on trial for serious federal crime,
he'll still be on the ballot?
Yeah, but do you think they'd be as loyal to him if they thought there was a good probability that he was going to jail?
Well, this is what I'm saying, right? He'd still be on the ballot. This would just mean Republicans lose another election.
Okay, when he's already the nominee.
Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, I think Republicans have forgotten this too. They're not thinking ahead to the potential problems this could cause. Okay, here's another problem. Let's say.
Yeah, so I guess instead of going through your hypothetical, I was just going on to say that it wouldn't. I don't know if they'd let it get to that. which isn't helpful. So I don't know what they do. They would lose again.
Right. Well, you're saying they won't let it get to that, but what are they doing right now to potentially stop that outcome from happening? They're
like voter suppression and voter suppression laws. I'm not joking.
It's going to be
That's
really...
what they're trying now. That's their only option. They're trying to just like pull fascism because they know they can't get out of this, like based on platforms when they have this like,
I mean, they're going to have to
unseemly mouthpieces.
They'd have to suppress a lot of votes to stop Biden from winning an election against Trump if Trump is in jail. I mean, Biden could potentially win by like 20 million votes. Like they'd have to throw out a lot of swing state votes.
Yeah, but I'm talking about smaller elections. Okay, we're still talking about Trump.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm sorry. I'm having trouble staying focused.
It's okay. I assume you're quite high right now.
Yes.
Okay. Here's another problem, right? Let's say it's the 2024 primary is about to wrap up. Jack Smith indicts Trump for, providing something that akin to providing aid and comfort to insurrectionists. He's convicted. This means he's disqualified from running for federal office. And what that means is next candidate up, whoever that would be, well, they got a problem. They spent all this time defending Trump. Trump's got this massive campaign fundraising operation going. He's already bled his donors dry from the $250 million after 2020. Based on, election fraud lies. And now he's, raked in massive sum of money during the 2024 campaign from small and large donors alike, right? Well, now the donors are tapped out, but all the money's in Trump's campaign, but he's no longer eligible to run for president. Now, whoever the Republican candidate is, their campaign is broke because they don't have the money to compete with Biden. Then what? Oh,
that's going to be beautiful. So far, I'm loving all the scenarios you're playing out.
Well, you see, just kind of a number of unintended consequences that they could be dealing with by not okay, let's go back to 2017 for a second, right? So I will admit that I'm not a genius. I'm just a regular motherfucker, just like you all listening to this podcast, right? But one of the things I thought once Trump won the election in 2016 was as soon as he takes office, the second he fucks up and does some crazy shit, Republicans were going to ditch him, get him out of the White House, put Pence in charge, or have Pence ascend to the presidency, have him pick a vice presidential appointee that can be confirmed by Congress, but someone that Republicans control, and they'd be rid of Trump and they could go on their merry way. I was wrong, obviously, but you see, it would make sense, right? Because Trump was such a wild card. Obviously, he's a threat to national security and just on a massive crime spree.
Look, the best thing they could do is as soon as it's a safe bet that they could get him locked up. They should their best bet is to throw him under the bus as soon as possible.
Right.
Why aren't they doing that?
They should.
I don't want them to.
Well, here's the thing. They should have done that at the earliest possible convenience, right? Pull the Band-Aid off. But instead, they doubled down their support behind him and basically protected him while he just engaged in ever more increasingly destructive behavior, but also to a point where he now controls the party because he controls the base. Because they didn't rip the Band-Aid off in 2017, they were fucked in 2020, but because they didn't rip the Band-Aid off after January 6th, now they're fucked in 2024. I'm not entirely sure where they're going to learn their lesson because now he's been criminally indicted. They've had so many opportunities to rid themselves of this problem. They never learned their. Actually, you know what? This is actually pretty good for Democrats. I don't even know I'm trying to problem solve for them. Let them just keep fucking stabbing themselves in the face.
I'm not. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense unless they thought okay, two scenarios that make sense to me, that alleviate the cognitive dissonance a little bit. Dissonance is shit. What we're talking about?
Why Republican? As far as elected officials, Republicans.
Right.
as
The
far as
first
elected
one is
officials go.
that they thought if the decline of the government, like if the coup were to somehow be able to pick back up through these other means, if they could win all of the local, the smaller elections
State
and change the
legislatures
local
and-
rules, state
yes.
legislatures, the judicial elections, all that stuff on every level, they thought maybe
Even if
this
they
plan
lose,
was still going to succeed. These are the things that make you double down, thinking you're going to succeed. That's one.
yeah, despite
Two.
evidence to the contrary.
And okay, no, there's three actually. Two.
Math is hard.
You're so fucking scared. No, I just thought of another one. You're so fucking scared of your personal consequences that you can't. There's no win for you, and yeah, like they have to go along with it because they're like fucked immediately if they
Perverse incentives. Like they're afraid to do the thing that's most beneficial to the party long term because of the immediate consequences to their political careers. Like I get it. Like individually, if you stand up against Trump, like you're going to get primaried or he's going to come after you or whatnot. But like,
yeah,
I'm saying as a whole, why have they not gotten together and decided like, hey, this is the point at which we're certain,
because of the like gang cult culture, like of like turning, they of absolute loyalty is expected, and that's,
I don't know.
Other people that comes in the form of like narking on your friends and shit.
Okay, what was number 3? Sorry,
number 3 is that it's just fucking Russia controlling them, and like
Russia's got their own problems. NATO's on their doorstep.
Yeah, I guess they don't have any. They stopped the funding and they're like mid plan and they're like, "What do we do? Give us more money." And he's like, "You're on your fucking own."
I don't know. I mean, look, I don't have. I don't.
So those were just 3 speculations for me. I'm not saying those are the 3 options of what's actually happening. That's just the shit that shot through my head when I was trying to resolve like the cognitive dissonance that that I had between just what boils down to bad faith and no, it was more than that. It was the 3 things I said. Let's move on.
Yeah, hit the rewind button if you want to hear what Carol just alluded to. Yeah, I don't know. It's insane because obviously in the long term, the more they double down on Trump, like just the more it's going to cost them politically, but they can't stop. I don't know what the explanation is. Like, I guess it's because he has such an influence over the base that they're afraid to stand up against him. I don't know. It's probably the same issue that Fox News has, right? Like that's part of the reason they're about to lose in this Dominion defamation suit. It's because they were so scared to stand up to Trump because they were afraid if they did, their audience would get upset. And so with Trump, then he would tell them to, go find their news coverage elsewhere, the news maxes of the world and such. And that's ironic because when Fox News was having guest appearances on that he didn't like today, Trump was telling his followers on Untruth Social to turn off Fox News and turn on the Newsmax and whatnot. So
if you can find it anywhere, where do MAGA people get their cable now?
Where do MAGA people get their alternative?
Like what cable carriers have Newsmax now?
YouTube.
On.
I don't know. Does Newsmax have an app?
They'll be like, we don't trust liberal TV, liberal cable.
OANN.
I don't.
I think does OANN have a cable news subscription? I don't know. I don't keep up with these things. I don't watch them fucking channels. Like I absolutely don't watch Fox News.
I mean, I wouldn't have even watched Fox News. So like like Fox News on crack is not appealing to me. Sorry, it's more like bath salts, I'm gonna say. Newsmax is like Fox News on bath salts with the face eating.
Okay, I have watched some clips from Newsmax. It is pretty fucking wild. Wait, they're also being sued by Dominion, right? This Fox.
I don't. maybe separately, but
if this Fox News case
I only read about this case.
Well, if this trial is going, well, this lawsuit with Fox News is going so sideways for Fox News, like Newsmax has to be particularly fucked. But yeah, so in the defamation suit against Fox News lost in the summary judgment in part to Dominion on the basis that the information that they were airing about Dominion was found to be false.
Yeah, so that's the one part of their summary. So there were several different motions for summary judgment by 3 different parties. They had Fox Corporation, which is the parent company of Fox News. And so Fox News Network is one of the parties. The other one was Dominion. They all filed for summary judgment. Dominion had one of their requests for summary judgment granted, which was part about the information being false, as you said earlier.
Don't worry, if you stumble over it, I will just edit it out so you can gather yourself. Feel free, it's fine. But yes.
So I'll be like, so the standard is the first standard. No, leave it in. Leave it in.
Ooh, that's what Stormy said, but Trump still only lasted 2 minutes.
It is already done. So we've discussed summary judgment a little bit on the show, and briefly, it just means like skip right to the end and not have a jury trial,
right?
And give us a result.
So yeah, the judge in this instance decided that one of the factors Dominion proved before the trial is that basically Fox News was full of shit and this was all lies. And that's important because, well, the fewer things that Dominion has to prove in trial, the easier the case is to prove, for one, but it's also an opportunity lost for Fox to make their defense more convoluted and make it more complicated for the jury to come to a conclusion. So that's out of the question. But also it's kind of rather insane. Like, I don't think I've seen any instance of this there is no example I can think of where a major media outlet was found to have just been blatantly lying in such a fashion. Like, this is one of a kind. Maybe
definitely not on this scale.
No,
I'm sure yeah,
absolutely not. And then I think one of the reasons that it is proceeding to trial in part is because what Dominion will have to prove to be awarded damages in the suit is that Fox was acting Fox was.
So they need to establish all of the elements of defamation, not just that the statements were false, but that they were defamatory, that they would harm the entity in question.
Well, I think Dominion's established
and also that they were made with actual malice.
Yeah,
so the falsity was one of the bases on which the request for summary one of the requests for summary judgments was made. So that's the one that was granted. They've already ruled that Fox was lying. That part of the case has now been established. That those statements that they made on the air were false, but they're not willing to grant summary judgment for the other elements.
Well,
because those need to be litigated.
The main issue that needs to be litigated is whether Fox was acting in actual malice. And because that involves proving Fox's state of mind, or rather their news host and the CEO, the judge decided that is what a jury needs to adjudicate.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, they're all just asking for summary judgment, which you always want to do, but you can't. There's a whole standard of review for it. You can't just be like, I want that, and then you have to give it to you that. Then there wouldn't be trials. Everyone would want summary judgment.
Right. Well, the factual
summary judgment that I'm not guilty. I know this is for civil suits, but
the factual basis, Dominion's established that the state of mind. That's what they'll have to prove at trial.
So here's what Fox has to say. These are the bases on which they were asking for summary judgment.
Be ghetto with it. Don't
the
be
contested statements are there's three reasons. The contested statements are not actionable under the First Amendment and the applicable New York doctrines. So to me, that's crazy. Like the first thing they're immediately getting at is like, we'll see how they adjudicate that. Just to me, that's saying like there's no defamation because you have First Amendment rights. Like, are you trying to get at the heart of the law? I don't know.
Yeah, well, Fox News does have First Amendment protections, but they also have levels of responsibility that they've gone far past.
To be fair, this is the first time I've sat down and read like a full motion for part of a motion.
It's okay
for a defamation case.
It's okay.
So
Carol,
anyway,
no
the
one
second
expects
part,
you to have like unquestionable legal expertise in this department.
I do. No, I don't. I'm just kidding. Okay, 2. The second claim. Dominion failed to show that the statements were made or published with actual malice. And I just want to, as a caveat, say their defense there. One of the defenses I saw was that they were, quote, fulfilling its journalistic duty to, quote, present newsworthy allegations made by others. So that's going to be a big part of their reasoning as to why there was no actual malice, that it's just journalistic duty to hear not newsworthy allegations, not that they thought were credible.
Well, I'm going to blow that defense apart very quickly.
And just I wrote down terrible defense in my notes here, but let me just list the third one quickly. That's also equally absurd, that Dominion did not suffer damages. Okay, go on.
Well, yeah, clearly Dominion suffered damages as they had their contracts canceled in a number of districts that were using their equipment. That's not what's most important. Like the idea that Fox thinks that what they were presenting was newsworthy. I mean, you can blow that apart with Sidney Powell's source for her election interference. The woman who claimed to be a decapitated ghost. I mean, that was fucking insane. Who also declared that what was it? Justice Scalia had died in like I don't even know, world's most dangerous game type scenario. Like, what kind of this is an insane person,
right? Yes.
Like, and they were in their own personal private emails, they were calling her fucking bonkers. So yeah, there you go. Look, so that's going to go very poorly for Fox News. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, like I would recommend to our listeners, all three of you should read that. Read the motion response.
Yeah, Dominion basically hammered them. They were like, hey, this is some fucking bullshit. Y'all are crazy. We got all these emails and text messages. Y'all are fucked. And they are. And they'll be going to trial shortly here, where multiple Fox News hosts, along with
the founder, Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah, he will also be deposed in the defamation.
Murdoch.
Well, I'm sure he'll probably be
I keep reading his name in these articles and such.
And Rupert Murdoch the bad news continues to bury Rupert Murdoch, as it appears his wedding engagement is off. Yep. And Leslie Smith appears to have called it off. His future sixth wife, or whatever the fuck it is. Oh, his future fifth wife. I guess his future fifth wife no longer. She's out. Yep.
So if he gets re-engaged to her, will she be his future sixth wife?
No, see, you're doing like Trump math on like if he gets reelected, like.
Yes. That's exactly what I was doing.
You don't get to be.
That's the joke.
The 47th president. If you were the 45th president, if you get reelected, then you're just like the 45th president who served 2 non-consecutive terms. Yeah. Anyway. Yep. So bad news for Rupert. His gem's going to be destroyed. It's probably going to get hammered with tens, if not $100 billion in damages. And also his hoe left him. So, yep. Boo-hoo. Fuck that guy. So, Carol, do you have a nominee for the Shithole of the Week award?
Oh.
You haven't given it any thought. All right.
I had not given it any thought.
I
No.
will present to you my nominee for the shithole.
I mean, I have, but it's only people who we've nominated over and over again. So go on.
So I've got two choices for you. One, I have Don Jr. again for going after the judge's daughter on the same day that his dad was arraigned in court, because that was some pretty fucked up type shit. Like I don't know what the fuck he was thinking there.
Well, he's gonna say it was because he's gonna be like, it was in context of an article about how the daughter worked on the Biden campaign. Like that makes it any better, or like that it was. I don't know. It's the perceived conflict of interest we talked about before. And that's what that will be his like defense. If Don Jr. even like thinks about subtext and shit before he opens his coked up mouth.
All right. My other nominee for the shithole of the week of the war that I will present to you is the TN State Legislature, Tennessee, here where I reside, because they have moved to expel three Democratic members of the state legislature who stood with a bunch of kids who left school yesterday to protest Tennessee's decision to not do anything not provide any kind of legislative solution for gun violence in the state, as it was directed towards those students at the Covenant High School. Like their decision to not go forward with any kind of solution on that. The kids staged a massive protest, and the Democratic legislators who stood with them, Republicans, were like, we want them out. Yeah. So
all right.
Instead of
is this a bad time for some devil's advocate?
Go for it.
So I'm gonna I know the devil has enough advocates, but
yes, Trump has millions and millions of advocates. But
I did read an article. It was in like a local Nashville paper or Tennessee. It was the Tennessean. Is that a right wing paper?
No, I wouldn't call it right wing, but it is the most popular state news outlet as far as like written journalism goes. So yeah.
Okay, so the account that I read in that said that it wasn't like they were just standing with these child protesters. It's that they led them in to the building and into the gallery during a session on an unrelated matter and interrupted them. So what they're claiming is, first of all, I don't think that that's like anything that would warrant expulsion, but what they're claiming is, they disrupted the process. It wasn't their turn to speak. That's which is also, not a good reason to do a fascism. But
all right,
I'm just trying the devil's advocate part. That was just the background information. How would you feel if like Marge Green brought in a bunch of protesters to the gallery during a legislative session?
If she were actually protesting something serious, like, I don't know, like being against the murder of children in their classrooms, I think I would like understand. I'm all for peaceful protests, right? Like, First Amendment rights. We don't have to like haggle over how far those rights should extend, but like people have the right.
But they feel equally passionate in theory, unless they're all bad faith hacks. They feel equally passionate about like anti-abortion shit. So if for them to burst in,
yes, even if it were something as absurd as like being against,
as long as it's peaceful, you're good.
Yeah, I'm totally.
I guess peaceful protest. All right. So I wasn't saying I agreed again. I just found that the reporting on it was a little like the reporting on it on Twitter was a little disingenuous.
All right. Now I will give you a counterpoint as to why Tennessee state Republicans are operating in bad faith. A state senator here.
Oh, I know they are. I just wanted you to think about how you would feel if it was the other way around. You'd be pissed.
Yeah. Well, like I might be like a liberal shield or whatever it is they call us these days, but like I do operate in good faith. But I'll give you a counter example as to why they are not operating in good faith. This is just one example. A state senator here in Tennessee named Joe Hensley was illegally prescribing drugs to his cousin, who was also his mistress, and didn't get expelled. So, yeah.
But was that happening during a session of Congress?
I mean, he wasn't like giving her the drugs while it was in. Look, if that's criminal behavior and also cousin fucking, I feel like you should be expelled from the state legislature from that. And if that's not where they draw the line, then this certainly
cousin fucking is probably illegal in your state.
I'm not entirely certain about that.
I know that it's legal to marry your cousin in New York. It's just not one of the. So I think that the way these laws are written is that it's written like in New York, it's written by exclusion. And I think that New York never had to legislate that because people don't fuck their cousins here or with as much regularity.
Or at least they don't.
Sorry to your cousin fucking state.
I was going to say like Rudy Giuliani would write like a word.
Again. But I don't think it's ever been enough of a problem that they had to legislate it. So, because I see that it's like northern states that don't have rules about that and like the southern states that do.
Yeah, well,
But here is a list of people you can't marry in your family. Yes, also your cousin.
This is the longest shithole of the week award we've ever had. Pat yourself on the back.
I'm going to nominate myself for defending your terrible shithole legislature, even for a second. Because I wasn't even defending them. Like, I think they're wrong. I didn't need to have a devil's advocate.
Nah, it's totally unnecessary. But yeah, Carol, you are hereby awarded the shithole of the week award for your terrible job of being a devil's advocate for these terrible fucking people. Oh, I mean, fuck these guys.
I'm sorry. I don't think I did a terrible job at it. I'm just terrible for doing it. But,
you will both. We don't have to, we don't have to pick and choose here. They're not mutually exclusive. Yep. Fun times. All right. Do you have any closing thoughts this evening, Carol?
Hey, to all of our Wisconsin listeners, if there are any of you, I just want to thank you for humoring and acting upon my repeated urgings for you to vote for. People told me how to pronounce the name. Hold on.
Protasiewicz?
No, that's not it.
I
was off.
Oh.
Yeah. You asked your whitest friend, but it didn't. Okay. Protasiewicz.
Protasiewicz.
I was way off.
Okay. Well, we figured it out. Congratulations.
She won so yeah, I should have finished the sentence.
By the time you listen to this podcast, you will have found out that she was found to be victorious in her election for the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. Democracy prevailed. Y'all fucked around with women and y'all found out. Republicans, let this be a lesson to you, or don't let it be a lesson to you. Keep losing.
No, I was going to throw that in before, but we didn't get to mention this election. But like, as I said previously, a lot of their hopes for what their plan was for the 2024 election was that they would have their plan involved winning this election, this Supreme Court of Wisconsin judge
of which
election.
Yeah, of which they had a majority for 10 years.
Their plan 2 years ago has already been shut down in a lot of ways. So the why has been answered. So just sorry, I skewed away from the closing thoughts as well, but good job, Wisconsin.
Yeah, you did it.
Thank you so much.
Pat yourself on the back. Y'all turned the fuck out. It was a lot of y'all. You did it. You saved democracy. Like I assume that Wisconsin will be passing laws to address the ridiculous level of gerrymandering that Republicans engaged in there. You'll get your access to abortion back. I mean, who knows what kind of incredible things the state will be able to engage in. So good job, guys. As for my closing thoughts, I would just like to say we have now entered the find out portion of fucking around. And that concludes this episode of Pardon the Insurrection.